Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a topic that I personally find fascinating. The surprising origins of some of the foods we love.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how some of the foods we enjoy today have roots that go back thousands of
It
years.
really is. We'll be exploring how ancient empires played a big role in shaping what ends up on our plates.
Absolutely. You might be surprised to learn just how much our modern cuisine owes to these ancient civilizations.
So shall we raise a glass to the past and dig in?
Let's do it.
All right. Our first stop takes us back to ancient Egypt, land of Pharaoh's pyramids.
And beer.
Wait, what? Beer. I always thought of ancient Egypt as all about, grand monuments and hieroglyphics.
Oh, they had those for sure. But beer was a huge part of their culture, too.
Yeah.
In fact, it was a staple food in ancient Egypt.
Really? So not just a drink for celebrations or special occasions?
Nope. People from all walks of life drank beer daily. It was even offered to the gods.
Wow. I never knew that. So how did ancient Egyptian beer influence what we drink today?
Well, their brewing techniques were quite advanced for the time. And get this, those techniques actually spread throughout the ancient world, influencing the Romans, and believe it or not, ultimately shaping European beer culture.
So the next time I'm enjoying a cold beer, I can thank the ancient Egyptians for their brewing ingenuity.
You got it. It's a reminder that even something as simple as a beer has a long and fascinating history.
Okay, we've had our ancient Egyptian beer. Now I'm craving something a little more, how about French?
Ah, France, a culinary powerhouse. You might be surprised to learn that even some American classics have French connections.
Really? Like what?
Well, take bourbon whiskey, for example.
Bourbon, as in Kentucky bourbon.
The one and only. Now, Bourbon County in Kentucky, where this iconic whiskey is made, was actually named in honor of the French royal family, the House of Bourbon.
No way. So a piece of American history is actually linked to French royalty.
It is. It just goes to show you how food and drink can travel across borders and centuries, picking up influences along the way.
That's fascinating. What else did the French influence that we might not realize?
Well, let's hop over to Vietnam for a moment and think about the banh mi.
The banh mi, that delicious Vietnamese sandwich with all the savory fillings and pickled veggies.
Exactly. Now, while the fillings are distinctly Vietnamese, the baguette itself is a French import, a legacy of French colonialism in Vietnam.
Oh, right. So the banh mi is like a fusion of cultures in every bite.
Absolutely. And it's a delicious example of how empires, even through conquest and colonialism, often led to the blending of culinary traditions.
I love those kinds of culinary mashups. Speaking of baguettes, though, have you ever wondered why they're shaped that way?
It's a pretty unique shape, isn't it? Long and slender.
Yeah. I've always just assumed that's how baguettes are supposed to look.
Well, there's actually a practical reason behind it. Imagine you're a soldier in Napoleon's army, you're on the move, you need bread that's easy to carry.
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
That's right. The baguette's long, slender shape was perfect for tucking into a soldier's knapsack. It was born out of necessity, but it became a symbol of French baking.
So the baguette, a staple of French bakeries and picnic baskets worldwide, is thanks to Napoleon's strategic thinking.
You could say that.
That's pretty cool. So we've seen how ancient Egypt and France have influenced our culinary landscape. What other empires have shaped the foods we eat today?
Well, let's hop across the English Channel to the British Empire. They had a vast culinary influence, particularly in India.
India, the land of spices and curries.
Exactly, and this brings us to a dish that many consider a British classic, Tikka Masala.
Tikka Masala, that creamy, flavorful curry. Oh, I love it. But I always thought it was a traditional Indian dish.
This is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Tikka Masala wasn't actually invented in India.
Wait, what? If it's not Indian, then where is it from?
It was actually created in Glasgow, Scotland.
Scotland. Seriously.
Believe it or not, yes, by an Indian chef who wanted to cater to British palates.
So it's like a British-Indian fusion dish.
Exactly, a product of cultural exchange and adaptation, and a delicious one at that.
That's so interesting. I love how food can evolve and blend across cultures in unexpected ways. Okay, so we've got ancient Egypt, France, and Great Britain. What's next on our culinary world tour?
Let's journey back in time to the Crusader kingdoms.
The Crusader kingdoms, weren't they more known for their, crusades than their culinary contributions?
That's true, but they actually played a significant role in introducing new ingredients and flavors to Europe.
Really? Like what?
Well, one tasty example is gingerbread.
Gingerbread. As in gingerbread houses and gingerbread cookies.
The very same.
I'm intrigued. What's the connection to the Crusades?
During their campaigns in the Middle East, the Crusaders encountered spices and flavors that were new to them, including ginger.
Ah, so that's where the gingerbread comes in.
Exactly. They brought back these exotic ingredients to Europe, and gingerbread, with its warming spices, quickly became a popular treat.
Wow. So even amid conflict, empires help spread culinary ideas and traditions.
It's true, food has a way of transcending boundaries.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered ancient Egypt, France, Great Britain, and the Crusader kingdoms. What other empires have left their mark on our culinary landscape?
Let's travel back to ancient Rome, an empire known for its conquests, its engineering, and its influence on Southeast Asian cuisine.
Southeast Asian cuisine. I would never have guessed the Romans had anything to do with that.
It's a surprising connection, I know,
Yeah.
but the link lies in a condiment that's essential to many Southeast Asian dishes: fish sauce.
Fish sauce, that pungent, salty sauce.
Really? Yes. The Romans had their own version of fermented fish sauce called garum, which was highly prized throughout the empire.
Wow. So while they didn't directly introduce it to Southeast Asia, the Romans' love of fish sauce likely inspired the development of similar sauces in that region.
That's the thinking. It's like a culinary ripple effect across time and continents.
I love that. Okay, let's keep traveling. Where to next?
Let's head north to Sweden.
Sweden, home of meatballs and IKEA.
Exactly. But did you know there's an unexpected link between the Swedish meatballs and the Ottoman Empire?
The Ottoman Empire. Really? How is that possible?
Well, the story goes back to the Swedish King Charles XII. After a period of exile in the Ottoman Empire, he returned to Sweden with a newfound love for Turkish kofte, small, flavorful meatballs.
So the king brought back a taste of the Ottoman Empire with him, and that inspired the creation of Swedish meatballs.
That's the idea. It's fascinating how culinary influences can travel with people and shape the food of a nation.
It really is. Okay, so we've got ancient Egypt, France, Great Britain, the Crusader kingdoms, ancient Rome, and now the Ottoman Empire. What's next on our culinary adventure?
Let's take a detour to Spain, a country whose cuisine has been shaped by a melting pot of influences, including the Islamic caliphates.
Spain, land of paella and tapas.
And this brings us to a dish that's practically synonymous with Spanish cuisine: pie.
Paella, that flavorful rice dish with saffron, seafood, chicken. It's hard to imagine Spanish cuisine without it. But how did the Islamic caliphates influence its creation?
Well, before the arrival of the Islamic caliphates, rice wasn't a common crop in Spain. They introduced rice cultivation techniques to the Iberian Peninsula, which laid the foundation for dishes like paella.
So paella, a dish that's so deeply rooted in Spanish culture, actually owes its existence to the agricultural legacy of the Islamic caliphates.
You got it. It's a reminder that food isn't just about recipes. It's about the ingredients themselves and their journeys through history.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got ancient Egypt, France, Great Britain, the Crusader kingdoms, ancient Rome, the Ottoman Empire, and the Islamic caliphates.
Now,
What other empires have shaped the foods we eat today?
let's set sail with the Dutch Empire, known for their seafaring prowess and their love of sweets.
The Dutch and sweets. Now I'm really intrigued.
Well, the Dutch were masters of cocoa processing. Their techniques revolutionized chocolate production, and that, believe it or not, had a huge influence on major American chocolate brands.
American chocolate brands. You mean like Hershey's and Nestle?
Those are the ones. Think about that the next time you're enjoying a chocolate bar. You might be tasting a bit of Dutch ingenuity.
Wow, I never realized the Dutch had such a sweet influence on American chocolate. It's amazing how interconnected the world of food is.
It really is. And speaking of sweet treats, let's not forget about donuts.
Donuts. Wait, are you telling me donuts have Dutch origins too?
Well, sort of. The American donut we know and love can trace its ancestry back to Dutch oliekoeks, which translates to oily cakes.
Oily cakes. That sounds about right.
Right. Dutch settlers brought this treat to the New World, and it eventually evolved into the donut we know today.
So from chocolate bars to donuts, the Dutch have certainly left their mark on our sweet tooths.
They have, and that just goes to show you there's often more to our favorite foods than meets the eye.
Okay, let's keep exploring. What other culinary surprises are in store for us?
Let's travel back to North America and uncover the unexpected origins of the margarita, a cocktail that many associate with Mexico.
The margarita, tequila, lime juice, and a salty rim. Seems pretty Mexican to me.
That's what many people think, but its origins are a bit more complex. The margarita likely originated in the American Southwest, possibly in Texas or California.
Really? So not Mexico.
It's a bit of a mystery, but it seems to be a fusion of Mexican and American influences born in the borderlands.
So the margarita, with its festive flavors, has a more complicated backstory than we might assume.
Exactly. It reminds us that food and drinks don't always fit neatly into our preconceived notions of national cuisines.
Okay, I'm ready for our next culinary mystery. Where are we headed now?
Let's cross the Atlantic once more and explore the surprising Portuguese connection to a quintessentially British dish. Fish and chips.
Fish and chips, battered fish, crispy fries, and malt vinegar. It doesn't get more British than that. How does Portugal fit into the picture?
It might seem like a stretch, but Sephardic Jewish immigrants from Portugal introduced fried fish to England centuries ago.
No way. So the Portuguese brought fried fish to England.
They did. And eventually, this tradition merged with the British love of fried potatoes, creating the iconic fish and chips we know today.
Wow, so fish and chips, a symbol of British culinary culture, actually has roots in Portuguese Jewish traditions. It's amazing how seemingly disparate cultures can come together to create something so delicious.
It's a reminder that food is a story of migration, adaptation, and the blending of cultures.
Absolutely. Okay, let's wrap up our culinary world tour with one last stop. Where are we headed?
Let's venture to the vast expanse of the Mongol Empire, an empire known for its horseback warriors, its conquests, and its impact on both European and Asian cuisine.
The Mongol Empire. I have to admit, I don't associate them with culinary influence.
Well, prepare to be surprised. Believe it or not, the Mongols played a significant role in popularizing dumplings.
Dumplings, you mean like pot stickers and gyoza?
Those are some examples, but I'm talking about those little pockets of dough filled with savory or sweet fillings that are enjoyed in various forms across Eurasia.
Okay, I see what you mean. So how did the Mongols spread the love of dumplings?
As they conquered vast territories, they brought with them culinary traditions from their homelands. And dumplings, it seems, were a big hit.
So the Mongols, on their horseback journeys, helped spread the joy of dumplings far and wide.
Precisely. Their influence can be seen in dishes like ravioli in Italy, pierogi in Poland, and countless other dumplings found throughout Europe and Asia.
It's incredible to think about how these warriors on horseback also help shape the food we eat today.
It's a reminder that food history is full of surprises and unexpected connections. We've only just scratched the surface of the culinary legacies of ancient empires.
And I can't wait to keep uncovering more of those fascinating food stories. So join us for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into the world of food history.
We'll see you there.